Here at the House of Creed, our techniques are infusions to create the finest essences. They have been going on for generations. And so we talk about the fragrance we want, and then of course every day my son Erwin, he goes out and he jump into the sea and he gets the ambergris, the whale vomit from the whale. It's one of our key ingredients.
Yeah, so most days I go out on the boat, just see how much ambergris my dad needs for that day's batch, and I love it. I jump straight in there. I go down and I just give him a little tickle under the tongue. There's a certain technique how you do it, and Bob's your uncle. Wallop, you've got your ambergris. Take it back to the lab. My dad bungs it in the machine, and that's how we do it basically. Yeah, I love it.
Tout le procédé de création d'un parfum.
Hello everyone, thanks a lot for joining me again. So today I'm going to talk you through my top 6 rarest fragrances from my collection. So these are ones that I think are maybe the rarest ones I own, the ones that would be quite hard to replace. And balance with that, sometimes maybe you can get them if you're looking, but they're really not talked about very much in the fragrance community. So I'm looking for ones that we don't see many videos about, and that in my humble collection are the rarest ones. There are people with a lot better collections out there than me, and there's stuff that I don't have that is much rarer than these and would cost more money, but these are getting there in rareness for me. So let's see what my first choice is. This one has been in a few videos before, so bear with me. It's Sport de Paco Rabanne. Okay, so a 1986 release here. I've sprayed these on strips to get a sniff and talk about them. That's just what I'm going to do here. So this one is an aromatic fougere with an extra added zesty lime burst in the opening, or an extra burst of citrusness. It's got that kind of barbershop fougere feel. It's got a ton of oak moss, and it's a real 80s sports fragrance. So this is not like today's really aquatic, crisp, transparent, sporty fragrances, or nothing like even things like Chanel Allure Homme Sport from 2004. This is much more rugged and manly, but it does have a certain 80s style freshness. It reminds you a bit of a tennis player with a hairy chest, long hair, and a headband or something like that. It's that kind of sporty person that you're reminded of with this one. It's really rugged, it's really fresh, it's quite unlike anything I've ever smelled before, and it will appeal to people who like their old school style fragrances a little bit, but also enjoy that extra burst of citrus freshness and something in there a bit unique. Ton of notes in this one. Patchouli's in there, there's lime, obviously, one of the ones I've already mentioned, oak moss is in there, there's lavender, there's even maybe a touch of mint and a lot of herbal notes. Fascinating fragrance. Don't hear much talk about it. You can get this one if you hang in there on eBay. They do come up from time to time, and it's not mega hyped, so it's not mega expensive, but I do think it's pretty rare in terms of hardly ever being spoken about on YouTube, and it's certainly not easy to find. So Sports de Paco Rabanne, look out for that one. Let me know if you tried it. Thank you so much to Chris from Scentland. I'll put the link to his channel down there. He does a lot of reviews on really obscure stuff. Turned me on to this one a while back. So Sport de Paco Rabanne. Next up, I'm going to go with a Chanel fragrance, and this is Chanel's A Gentleman's Cologne. So this is one of the versions of Chanel Pour Monsieur that was on the shelves for a while. It's been under various different names. I think it originally was called Pour Monsieur when it was brought out in 1955. I've seen one called Pour Monsieur Cologne. All kinds of different names have been used for this one, but at one point it was called A Gentleman's Cologne, and I'm lucky enough to have a bottle that I got on eBay. Again, I've sprayed some on here, so let's see how this one smells. Absolutely beautiful. You will recognise it if you know today's version of Chanel Pour Monsieur as being kind of the same scent. It is the same scent, different formulation. But there's something a little bit different about this one. It could be because of the age of the juice, but I think I seem to be lucky. Mine seems to have been kept well. It's a splash bottle. I love the way the bottle is a little bit like the Chanel exclusive niche line that you get now. Really simple. And the box looks great too. It's got one of those lovely yellowed boxes that proves it's really old. The cardboard and everything. You can tell might even be from the 60s. I'm not sure how old this one is, but it's hella old. More importantly, the smell. Again, it's a citrus-based fragrance in the opening, but it's a chypre, so there's a nice kind of green bitterness and some oak moss in this one, with some lovely herbal elements in there as well. Very refined, a classic cologne style fragrance. It's got a unique smell. If you go into your stores today and smell the modern version of Chanel Pour Monsieur, you will gain a pretty good appreciation of what this one's all about. Most people say that's not quite as good as this one. This doesn't smell exactly like today's one, but it is recognisable as the same scent. Just a little bit more richness and smoothness, I think, with this one, and performance just okay. It's not amazing. People moan about the modern one having poor performance. This one is okay, but it's nothing amazing either. I think it might be eau de toilette rather than cologne, as the name says, but there's not a lot of difference, is there really, between these concentrations. Really nice fragrance, a classic from the 50s. Moving on then, another one that I really cherish in my collection, and it's from 1995. It's from Yves Saint Laurent, and this is Opium Pour Homme, the Eau de Parfum. Now, the Eau de Toilette's still with us on the shelves, and there is a version, an Eau de Parfum of Opium that you can still buy today. I think it's hard to get in the States, but you can buy it in Europe. But I'm told there's a bit of a difference in how rich they smell, and this one is a bit better. So I'm lucky to have a real old version. Looks like it must be a tester, because it's got some notes on the back. So let's talk about the smell on Opium Pour Homme, a very rich fragrance from 1995. Some of the notes in this one are blackcurrant and star anise, Sichuan pepper, Atlas cedarwood, and Bourbon vanilla. It lists a lot of these on the back. Cassis is in there, which that's your blackcurrant note. And I really enjoy this one a lot. It's got something called Galanga, no idea what that is. Incredibly rich, incredibly sweet. Very heavy, easily could be worn by women. I think the Opium for women is, of course, a classic female perfume. So let's get a sniff where I've sprayed it. And so this one, intoxicating, like the name suggests. It is almost a narcotic kind of smell. Really rich and intoxicating. Heavy, sweet, deep, very grown-up smelling, not sweet in a sort of trivial way. A kind of dark, deep sweetness about this one. Excellent, beautiful stuff, and I'm very lucky to have this absolute beast mode performing version, which is the old formula, which comes in the dark blue bottle. It's an excellent fragrance. To me, I prefer it to the modern version of M7, another sort of heavy, rich one from Yves Saint Laurent. I haven't smelt the vintage of that, but for me, one of my rare ones that I think I don't see very often coming up again on eBay, is easy to get, and I really enjoy this one from Yves Saint Laurent. Not talked about much in our fragrance community at all. Very fortunate to get that one, and I paid a little bit for it, but it was a reasonable price. It wasn't massive. Okay, now next up, this is hardly ever mentioned, and if you go on Fragrantica and Base Notes, the reviews are stellar on this fragrance. It's a house still releasing fragrances today, but you cannot get this one very easily at all. It's Moschino Pour Homme. I love the bottle on this one, and the colour of the juice, really dark and rich looking, and that gives us a clue of what we're going to get with this one. How do we describe it? Basically it's a leathery oriental. I think that's the best description. It was first released in 1990. It's not available anymore. It's a very rich, strong fragrance. In the top, you've got rosemary and lavender. There are some green notes. There's clary sage and bergamot. In the mid, we've got carnation, orris root, jasmine, caraway and rose. Tons of notes. Base has labdanum, leather, tonka, amber, benzoin, coconut, oak moss, cedar and styrax. So there's a leatheriness about this fragrance. Quite a smooth, easy to like leatheriness. A little bit reminds me, in a strange way, of Tuscan Leather by Tom Ford. Never heard anyone else say that about it, but I kind of feel it's that slightly non-offensive leather. And the styrax and the benzoin, there's quite a lot of sweetness in this one, but a heavy, rich masculinity about it as well. It's very complex. It doesn't have an awful lot of freshness, although there are some green notes in the beginning. It's very masculine, but it's got a certain sweetness. So if you mix sort of masculinity, a little touch of sweetness, and a very smooth kind of leatheriness in this, that gives you some idea what you get with this fragrance. Excellent fragrance, sometimes compared to Hermes Bellamy, which I'm not terribly familiar with, but if you're interested in retro sense, this one looks more back to the 80s, although it was released in 1990. Very hard to find these days, and prices for the Eau de Toilette getting really high. You can just about pick up an aftershave version cheaper, but the 50ml one that I've gotten sort of half empty there, I got it for a good price. Eau de Toilette, Moschino Pour Homme. Lovely bottle, beautiful juice, very masculine, very rich, niche quality smelling actually. You really notice a few of the ones in this video remind me more of the things in the niche department of your store than today's modern designer releases. So what's up next? It's going to be from Givenchy, one of my favourite houses. And this is Monsieur de Givenchy Haute Concentration, or as it says on the back, Super Concentrate, in case we didn't understand it. So it's an Eau de Toilette Super Concentrate. I think that just means it's more like eau de parfum strength, but when these were being released, maybe people thought eau de parfum sounded girly and men didn't want to wear a parfum. So Monsieur de Givenchy, one that I really, really like in the eau de toilette. You can still get a reissued version of that nowadays. It's a citrus chypre type fragrance, similar actually to Chanel's Pour Monsieur or Gentleman's Cologne, and this one was brought out, not sure exactly when, but it's a stronger version which certainly hasn't been available in any reissued form in this concentration for many, many years. Lovely citrus notes in the opening, and again some nice herbal and floral elements in the mid with some good woodiness in the base. Very, very similar in category to the Chanel Gentleman's Cologne or Pour Monsieur. So let's smell where I've sprayed it, and oh, it's lovely. It's everything I love about the original one, but it really feels like the eau de parfum version of Monsieur de Givenchy. A little bit stronger. Citrus opening is really, really there with the lemony freshness, but the base notes, I think there might be patchouli in there. The sort of depth and green and woody stuff that hangs around longest seems to come through stronger earlier, makes it maybe more of an all year round fragrance rather than just a spring daytime freshie that you might say Monsieur de Givenchy normal is. So I really, really like this one. Hard to find, very rare. And I was lucky enough to get it for a reasonable price because although it's rare, it's not super hyped up, and that's a good combination for me. Finally then, the most rare one, I think, and as I've said before, I don't have the most incredible collection of really rare stuff. I'm not going to have stuff here like Dolce & Gabbana's By Man. I've mentioned it in other videos, have a sample, super rare. Very highly thought of, big prices for that online. Another one that I really want to get is Patou pour Homme, Jean Patou pour Homme. I think it's a kind of aromatic fougere, supposed to be one of the absolute best smelling ones from 1980. Again, you're really going to pay huge prices for that online, so I haven't managed to get around to getting that one yet. But probably the jewel in my rare fragrance collection at the moment is Jules from 1980 from the House of Christian Dior, and I'm lucky enough to have the old brown bottle. It's been reissued recently. Good video on the Greggy Boy 76 channel where he reviewed that one. The original Jules then, and because it's a splash, I'm just going to sniff from the top. If you want to really simplify it, this is Dior's version of Chorus, which came out before Chorus. So it's got castoreum in it. That comes from a beaver's backside or nutsack, I think. So it's got this animalic element, and I am going to have a look at my list of notes. Galbanum's in there, black pepper, cedarwood, sandalwood, Russian leather. There's definitely a lot of leatheriness, and those are just some of the notes. There's a real strong greenness and freshness and crispness about this one in the opening, which is more so than you would get in Chorus from Yves Saint Laurent or maybe the Chanel equivalent Antaeus. This one has a little bit more of a sharp green opening, but an extreme muskiness. I think musk is one of the key notes that I would mention in this one. Musk and castoreum and leather mixed with a little bit of a freshness to give this really sexy animalic feel. Again, you know, a daring fragrance, bit more like Chorus or something like that, that not everyone's going to want to wear in the modern era. Super difficult to find actually an old bottle like this nowadays. And I got a 100ml bottle with about 30ml left in the bottom as an eau de toilette splash. Really pleased to pick that one. I think it was about £30, which is a fair price, £1 per mil on eBay. So Jules from 1980, probably the rarest one I've got. What do you think about rare fragrances? What are some of your favourites? What did you think of my picks? I think that it's really fun to have some ones that are hard to find. I like collecting a little bit, but mainly I do get fragrances to smell good and enjoy spraying, so I do spray them. I don't keep them in their box and never use them, and I love old fragrances, of course. So those are my rare ones. What are your favourites? What did you think of my picks? Remember, whatever we're doing in life, let's project, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.